What's up, youth culture? Welcome to another awesome broadcast. We are so pumped that you are joining us. My name is Kramer. This is my friend Kieran. We are both youth pastors here at Church Home. And then on the screen joining us, we have a bunch of other really amazing people. I'll introduce them really quick. We've got Justin Mel in the top right, coming to us from LA, one of the youth pastors as well here at Church Home. In the bottom screen, one of our good friends and YC leader, this is Isakin, and Isakin is hanging out with us originally from the East Coast, but now we get to hang in Seattle. Isakin, we love you. Thanks for hanging with us. And then in the top left is Angel. Now, here's the thing. Angel agreed. He doesn't usually do this, but this time he agreed to come from behind the camera, behind the computer to join us for the broadcast for this next couple of weeks. And so Angel is the genius that edits and puts together all of the YC broadcasts every week. But for the next couple of weeks, Angel is in front of the camera, which we're pumped about. So thanks for joining us wherever you are at, and we're excited to continue the conversation in celebrating Black History Month. And this is week number 2 of the conversation. And so we want to jump right into it. And specifically today, we're going to be talking about social media, all right? And social media in regards to Black History Month, in regards to racism, in regards to social justice, and how it influences our everyday life and interacting with these topics and these real life situations. I think it goes without, I don't even necessarily need to say it, but we all know that social media influences us, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, whatever platforms you're on, it's real. It influences us. I know for me, I find myself when I go home to Kylie at the end of a work day and we're talking through the highlights. A lot of times what I will tell Kylie is, or what'll sneak in there is something that I saw on my social media feed, right? And it makes the highlight reel at the end of the day. And I think for me, it's truth. And it's the same way for all of us, whether we've thought about it or not, it influences what we talk about. It can influence our mood if we allow it to, but also it influences the way that we see important topics like racism and social justice. And so I've got a couple of questions that I'm gonna ask our incredible crew here. And Kieran, I'm gonna start with you. Just kind of based off the things that I've said so far, what does that look like for you? Can you relate to that when it comes to specifically talking about social justice, racism? How does social media influence you where you're at as a youth pastor, but also just a user of social media?
Totally. Yeah, there's so much to that question we could spend so much time on, but I think for me, we're on it all the time. And what I realized is there's so much information on social media. You are getting thrown so much information, and maybe you don't even realize it, but never in the history of ever did we know so much information other than now. And so I think being cautious of what you are allowing in, what your eyes are seeing, what your ears are hearing, all of that stuff will impact you. And I love this verse in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. It's such a great verse. It says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." And I think in social media, you can think about a lot of things. And sometimes there can be things that come up and you want to be petty, or you want to throw out that DM, or you want to comment away. I think that this verse is such a grounding verse because it can help us realize a bigger picture even in a digital time. And so there's a lot to be said when it comes to that question, but I think that's what comes off right off the top of my head.
That's good, Kieran. This next question, I'm gonna look to Isakin for this one. So we know that who you follow and what your feed looks like, it's important, right? Like you follow your favorite people that you want to keep up to date. Isakin, can you speak to maybe the importance of why it's important to diversify who you follow and the information that you're getting? But then also, could you maybe give us a couple of recommendations as a Black woman, who would be some incredible accounts or individuals to follow or take notes from?
Yes, I think it's super important to diversify your content, to diversify your feed. As Kramer and Kieran said, a lot of what we take in these days is from social media. Let's be honest. Don't think many of you are watching CNN these days. But I think it's really important to follow people who are, providing content that is unbiased, content that speaks the truth, and moreover, content that not only appeals to you as a youth or a YC person, but that speaks to your soul, that really sits with you and resonates with you, and that's super important. As far as people to follow, I mean, there's a variety, and obviously, if you do Google search or if you have a particular type of content that you like to follow, there's so many people out there. If you're into art, there's so many different artists on Instagram who are using their social media platforms to uplift and amplify Black voices. Humans of New York is actually one of the ones that they started really, really early on a while ago. I think like back in like 2010 or so. But it's just an awesome page that I personally follow that depicts the stories of so many different people from around New York City. And if you're an East Coast girl like I am, know just how important those people's stories are and how meaningful it is to be able to share in some of those things. I personally follow a lot of different Black women, including but not limited to Jackie Aina, who is a beauty influencer, but also uses her platform to speak her mind. Lovey Ajayi Jones, Viola Davis, who is just an incredible Black woman and who is breaking barriers in Hollywood, amongst many others. So I encourage you, go out there. If you see something on Instagram or on any social media platform, somebody that you're like, I've never seen this before. I don't know this person enough. Click on their profile, get to understand who they are, where they come from, what their story is. And you'd be surprised that more often than not, we have a lot more in common than we think we do. But it's that initial judgment, that those blinders that prevent us from really understanding somebody's background and where they come from.
That's really good. Thank you, Isakin. And I'll say this one thing that I was told, a few months ago, and it seems so mundane, but when it comes to diversifying social media and your everyday life and the things that you're digesting and the culture that you're putting in front of yourself, one of the greatest tools to use, and don't be afraid to use it, is Google. Simply go ahead. It is that simple. And I'm speaking to myself as a white man, but also to other individuals out there that are Caucasian. You have white skin. Man, don't be afraid to use the Google tool to help you out, because it really is. It's so easy. All of the information that you need to educate yourself is at the tips of your finger, literally. And it exists in a place called Google. And it's really that simple to get to what Isakin was speaking about. All right, so this next question is for Angel, and we all know this as far as social media goes. We've seen it. It is like a car wreck that you cannot look away from. It's social media comment fights, right? Like when people are in the comments and they're going back and forth and they're tagging each other. And it's one of those things where you look at it and it's like, this is just gross. Like this is the worst of humanity on display. People saying whatever they want because they're, hiding behind a screen, but they wouldn't actually, in most cases, hopefully, they would not say those things to the person's face. And specifically when it comes to racism, and in the last couple of months, we have seen this running rampant. These comments that are racist, people saying things that are hurtful, that are unjust. So I want to throw this question to Angel. Angel, what would be your recommendation, or when you see racism displayed on social media, what is a good way for us to respond, and how do you respond?
I think a couple things come to mind when you ask that question. I think one of the thoughts that come is empathy, just having empathy for people and the people behind the screen. A lot of people could come to social media and comment sections and post and different things with maybe bad intentions, maybe good intentions. And I think with having empathy towards others, there's also context, understanding like what they might be saying or what they're not saying. There's definitely a lot of people that can be blatantly racist and blatantly trying to just bring down the value of just that person's life. So I think just empathy, context, and also just when there are people that are, just being racist and saying things that are not true, just speaking the truth and just calling it out by what it is, and just saying what is true, and just like confronting that person in I think the most empathetic way that you can, and with the most context that you can.
That's great.
Just address that person. So
Thanks, Angel. If you have more questions, maybe you want to be a part of YC, you can DM us on Instagram at Church Home Youth. And myself, Kieran, Justin, Shaddai, the youth pastors here at Church Home, we will be the ones to respond to you. But we love you so much, YC, and we're going to be back next week for week number 3 in this incredible conversation. Have a phenomenal week.